I'm here with Victor Oddo, and he is incredible, and he helps people with their awakening process, like any element of that. And I love so much of what you do, and I'm just really happy to be here with you.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here with you and in front of you guys as well. Thank you.
Yay! So today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to accelerate your awakening, your spiritual awakening. And this is like your bread and butter topic. Like, you're so good with this and have been through this with yourself and helped so many others. What are some of the keys that have helped you in this?
So one of them is sort of, it was her idea. She said, let's talk about authenticity. That's a big one. And it really is. I really believe the awakening process can have so many spin-offs, so many esoteric spin-offs that are very fun and very relevant for a time, but it really does boil down to, one, just shedding the false self, shedding the personality structure that was sort of imprinted upon you in life by your parents and just the conditioning. And it's just a stripping away and a revealing of like the authentic self. But a lot of times that authentic self can be different. Like me, I started off as like a personal trainer. I like party with my friends. I had all these sort of, ways of thinking of myself. And now I'm this like YouTube ascension guy that it was a hard thing for me to embrace my authenticity. It was like, I'm not comfortable with that. People aren't going to be comfortable with that. They're going to think that's weird. They do think that's weird, but I've learned to be cool with it. So it's really just having that courage to be who you really are. And that's why I started sharing videos, because I felt like there was a lack of encouragement to sort of act upon my intuitive guidance that started becoming on overdrive after the awakening. So if anything, I would say is I concur with Bridget's suggestion is to really embrace your true self and allow your authenticity to really shine through you as it's attempting to.
I love everything you said. And one of the reasons that I was going, hey, we should talk about authenticity, is because I think this is something that you do so well. Like, honestly, because I think, well, 2 things. Just in general, it's kind of hard to be like authentic in the world with so many, constraints of what we're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then also now you become quite popular. And so that's like another level of then needing to keep a certain like identity or face. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about you. And I think that's why so many people relate to you, is because you still are like, dude, I'm like, I have these challenges that come up, or like, this is what I'm feeling. And I just think it's really powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. It's not easy. What I feel what's helped me do that is just seeing how it helps people. Yeah. Just, it's hard for me to be authentic. Like, it's hard for you guys. It might be hard for you at times. Yeah. A lot of the stuff you talk about is sort of like esoteric, the starseeds and stuff. I respect that, but it's not always easy. But you probably have seen, wow, there's comments, people saying, wow, thank you. That really helped me. Yeah. Yeah. So it's still not easy for me, but it's become worth it to push through those nerves.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So it's like been initiated by seeing how powerful it is for other people and like how moving.
Yeah. There's an obligation to continue to be authentic in a sense, which I welcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other points of how we can accelerate our awakening? As
we were saying before, being vulnerable, which is not easy, especially for like those tough guys, like I used to think I was. Because, at least for most people I've talked to and worked with, including myself, when you start your awakening process, life will tend to trigger you. You attract circumstances that produce sometimes strong emotional reactions, and it could be to cry, or you get really angry or really afraid. And I think no one likes feeling those random, sudden, intense emotions, but that's an opportunity when you feel the anxiety or to feel the fear to allow yourself to experience it. Because if you can do that, it can kind of like leave your system. But most of us run from our anxiety. How do I stop anxiety? How do I get over the fear? Yeah. It's like, well, you run into it like a buffalo. Buffaloes are awesome. They run into the storm. Why? I don't know. But they do. And that's sort of like the mentality. I say, run into your emotions. Like one time I lost a dog. I had to put a dog down. It was very sad for me. One of the most saddest things I've ever gone through. But I grieved so quickly because I just let myself bawl whenever I needed to. Like 3 days of crying all day. And I was like, you know what? Day 4, I was like at peace. Yeah. But if I was to like try to keep face, and it would have been more prolonged, those emotions would have probably come out in more explosive and inappropriate times. So But to be vulnerable is not easy. So I just say, just do your best with it. I'm not always vulnerable, but I try my best to allow whatever emotion is present to express itself.
Nice. So it keeps everything moving rather than like stagnant, hidden stuff to build up.
Yeah, like I don't know about for you, like for me, the awakening has really just been a purge. Just one thing after the other, kind of just letting go.
Yeah.
And I've learned to kind of, as best I can, like, embrace it. And just, it's not fun when it's happening, but there's always that lightness afterward. You feel good. And then something else will come up and you gotta do it again, but.
Right, totally. When it's like the process of remembering is the process of letting go.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's how you let go, or that's how you remember is to let go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then you're free.
Okay, so what's your third tip for everyone?
The third one is to embrace and follow your passion, your joy, your excitement. I've found that that's another one that can be difficult. Sometimes your passion, it's sort of like, it can be disruptive.
Yeah.
Like I had this point in my life where I mentioned I was a personal trainer. I used to own a gym and I had like this business I built. I put all this time and energy into it. It was kind of my identity. But I had this passion that said, you really want to be on YouTube. You really want to be living elsewhere. You really want to have nothing to do with this gym anymore. So it's like, wow, that's very inconvenient because I put a lot of time into this, And for a while I resisted that. I resisted my passion, and what happened was my life that I was sort of clinging on to just continued to get worse and more out of alignment. And I just knew this is like a dying situation that I was clinging to because it's all I knew.
Yeah.
But when I embraced my excitement, it really accelerated my awakening. It didn't make it necessarily easier. It made it faster. It made me come into my authentic self much more sooner. And that's when my life really started to kind of become what I really wanted it to be, where I had like the abundance and the freedom and just like the happiness and all those things that people really want at the core started to come when I entertained that excitement that was starting to make itself known. And that's something that will make itself known to anyone going through a process like this. You'll start to come into an awareness of who you are and what you really want in life, and then it's important to kind of go with it. But don't expect it to always be easy peasy, although it can be. It's just me,
Yeah.
And another thing you probably have experienced, we talked about it for a minute, but when I started to really embrace my passion, which at the time was starting YouTube and still is, I started to really go through kind of an acceleration of healing. Did you experience that when you sort of started to step foot onto your journey?
Oh yeah.
It's not the end, right?
No, it's just the beginning, and everything just kind of like snowballs, like every aspect of life.
And then it can become tough. You're like, wow, I would get frustrated. I'd say I'm following my intuition. So why are things so hard? I'm supposed to be rewarded by now.
Yes.
And it is a reward though. It's like, okay, let's heal you, man. Let's just let this all out. You're gonna feel better. Just go through it. But I would say those three things are definitely, they will accelerate things for sure.
Yeah.
And I know some people are probably saying, I don't know what my passion is. And that's true. Some people get very they get lost into their life that's not really what they would have wanted for themselves, but fell into. And I found that for a time, some people need to kind of just first let go, at least mentally, like, you know what? I know I don't like my job.
Yeah.
I don't have a replacement, but I'm going to admit that to myself.
Yes.
And there can be like a void where I don't know what, there's nothing to replace it, but it comes.
Yep.
And it comes from letting go. So that's kind of a bonus fourth tip for you guys who don't know their purpose.
Is to admit where you're at.
To admit where you're at and admit what you want. Like, don't pretend you're happy at a situation or relationship or job if you're not. Because then that's all you'll have, and there's could be a much greater potential for your happiness on all levels when you admit that I don't want this.
Right. Which like cycles back into the vulnerability and the authenticity with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It all does intertwine pretty much, doesn't it? Yeah.
It makes sense. It makes sense why it all has like worked for you, and because those are intertwined and like you are dedicated to that.
Yes, yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome. It was nice to have thank you so much for having me on.
And
I appreciate it.
how can people be in touch with you?
The easiest way, just to look me up on YouTube. Just type in my name, Victor Oddo, and you'll see some videos of me. And if you like it, great. If not, well, no, it's great.
Well,
yeah, just find me on YouTube, Victor Oddo.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week with another video.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank you guys.
See you.